Hi, this is James from Tabletop Gaming Guild, and today we're going to look at the 2 to 4 player game Arcane Arena. Now, Arcane Arena is on Kickstarter right now, so what we're looking at is actually a prototype of the game, so keep that in mind when we're playing it, so the components and the rules might be subject to change. That's why we're going to give a general overview of how to play the game, and then we'll come back and I'll give you my final thoughts. So this is what a setup of Arcane Arena might look like. Now, a couple things to keep in mind is this is a prototype. So some of the stuff might be subject to change. And just keep in mind that they are on Kickstarter now, and this is just a prototype of the game, and we're going to give you a general overview of how to play the game itself. To start out the game, everyone's going to select a character, and their color is going to match the little token that they're going to place on the board. Now, they're also going to get 8 cards. And in these 8 cards, they're going to get 4 of these moves, 2 of the buys, and 2 attacks. Now, the game is marked into 3 rounds, and each round has 2 different parts. The first part is training, and the second part is combat. At the end of the 3rd round, whoever is the last person standing wins. Now, the game can be played 2 to 4 players, and it can be played in teams or just against each other. If it's played in teams, the last team standing is the one that wins. So in the game, you're going to have an increasing number of training rounds per round. So in the first round, you're going to have 3 turns to buy cards. In the 3rd round, you're going to have 4 turns to buy cards. And in the 5th round, you're going to have 5 turns to buy cards. And during combat, you're going to have more health. Everyone's going to have more health per combat round. So in the first round, they're going to have 10 health. In the second round, they're going to have 15 health. And in the 3rd round, they're going to have 20 health. Now, let's go ahead over the first portion of the game, which is going to be the deck building portion. So in the deck building portion, you're going to take your 8 cards. You're going to draw 4 of them. You're going to take a look at these cards, and primarily what you're looking at in the first round is going to be the buy power of these cards. So for my first turn, I have these cards. My buy value, how much I get in here, is going to be marked right there. So I have 1, 2, 3, or 4, sorry, can't count today. So I have 1, 3, and 4. This one is worth nothing. Okay, so I place all these cards down, I announce that I have 4 buy power, and then I take a look. And on this board here, the buy power, how much they cost, is right here. And I want to take a look at their abilities in here too. So this is the move ability, how many spaces I can use this card to move it during combat, and this is how much damage that card can do, and then this is a special like a special attack or special trigger that these can have. And what's really cool about this game here is there are triggers in this game. So in general, when you're doing the combat round, your cards can only be played on your turn, but there's certain cards that have triggers on them, and they'll say when blah happens or when blah, you can play that card and you can affect your opponent, which I really, really like. So on your turn, you can buy these cards here, or you can buy a focus. And the cost of the focus is right here. And you can only buy up to 1 focus per turn. And it has a nice 2 buy power, has a nice 3 movement, and has a nice 2 hit. So the focus cards are actually pretty nice. I only have 4 buy. I couldn't buy 2 focus because I only allowed 1 on a turn, and the only other cards are 3. So I'm not quite ready to do this, so I'm going to go ahead and buy this card. Now this card here does have a trigger on it, and it says when played as an attack, this card's attack value becomes 4. So it has a nice little trigger on it. Now if you buy cards from here, you're not going to actually refill it until the end of your turn. So if you buy cards from here, you're not going to see what the next cards that come up. And a couple things with the beginning of the round, when you fill this deck up, you're going to actually, at the end of every round, you're going to clear, which your round goes through all the training and all the combat. Then you're going to clear out all those cards, and you're going to put 6 new cards in there. And there's a couple different rules for keep making sure that this stays unique. And you're going to notice that on these cards, they're going to have a color banner across the top, but you're really going to look at the symbol. So if you're colorblind or have issues with colors, there's symbols on here. You can't have any more than 2 of the same symbols in there. And you can't have any more than 1 of each named card. So if you look at here, you can see that High Runner is not allowed there. So I get rid of that card and place another one there and make sure it follows those rules. So that way you have enough unique distribution that it gives people a chance to get each of the different cards. So you're going to continue on this training thing. You're going to go ahead and I'll mark that I would do the first round. So now I'm at the second round, and now I'm going to pick up these cards and I'm going to play them, and I have 4 buying power, and this time I'll actually pick up this card. End of the round, this card flips. And for my third round, third turn for training at the first round, so that would mark the end, I would take all these cards because I have no draw pile, shuffle them, draw 4, look at my buy power, which I now have 5, so I can get 1 of 5. And this time I could get a dash and a procedure because I have 5, and now I have those cards. So anyway, I'm not paying too much attention to that, so if I break some of the rules on there, don't worry about it. I'm just going through the rules. So after that, then we're going to go into the combat phase. In the combat phase, you're going to try to gain favor from the crowd, and that's these little things right here. And you can use these in the game to draw extra cards or use them for extra buy. Now, if you're drawing cards, it takes 2 of them to draw 1 card. If you are using them for buy, each one of these is worth a buy point. So they help out a lot. And there's a couple different ways that you're going to get these favors in the game, but for the first thing we're going to talk about is combat. So in combat, in the first round, you're going to have 10 health, and like I said, the next one's 15, and the last one's 20. You're going to take this same deck and you're going to draw 4 cards. And you're going to play 1 card at a time, each turn. And you're going to look at the different things. So if I want to move, it's 2 points. A movement on this card, or damage is 1. Now there's a couple things that I want to attack on this board. I'm going to attack the other player, and I want to attack these favor tokens. So if I attack a favor token, the favor tokens have 2 health. When I do 2 damage to a favor token, I get it. I can put it in my area. So if let's say I moved over here. So let's say this turn I used this to move 2 spaces. Next turn I move this to move. I want to move 3 spaces, then I just move another 2. And at the end of my turn, after I play a card, after I play all the cards I want to. So I'm going to play a card 1 card at a time, and I could play all of them if I want, or I can keep 1 back. Sometimes you want to keep 1 back. If I keep 1 back, or I've played all my cards, at the end of the turn, I'm going to draw up to 4. So I kept 1, so I'm going to draw 3 more. And we're going to keep doing this until only 1 person's left standing. Now, when you knock out an opponent, so let's say I knock out this opponent, they'll remove their thing from the board temporarily. And the person that got knocked out gets a single favor token from the crowd. And the person that didn't knock out gets 2 favor tokens. The last person standing at the end of the combat round is the first person to go during the training phase and buying cards. And like I said, this will continue on until the 3rd round. At the end of the 3rd round, the last person standing wins. So that is the overview of how to play Arcane Arena. Let's go ahead back up to the table here, and I'll give you my final thoughts on the game. So there's a lot I really love about this game. The game really surprised me. I didn't know how it was going to be reading through the rules. And the rulebook is really good. The only thing I mentioned in the rulebook is I wish they would talk about the favor tokens and how to get them in with the combat, but super minor. The rulebook's really nice. For a prototype rulebook, it's really good. The training phase I loved a lot. I love the deck building portion of that. I love the fact that the deck building and the card combat are completely separate parts of the game. So I like the not having to worry about immediately like damaging opponents or defending myself while I'm buying cards. I can just go out, buy the cards, and then we move on to the combat phase. I really enjoy that a lot. I really like the strategy of picking the cards, watching what other players pick, so that you have a general idea how you need to do your strategies for combat. I like that a lot. That's a really cool design. In combat, I like that also a lot. I like that the dual nature of the cards, I can use them for use them for buy value and stuff in the training phase, but then I can use them in combat in the combat phase. I love the 3D nature of moving around those boards, getting those favor tokens, knocking out the other players. I only wish that, because you could dance around for a while, and in the training phase, there's a set number of turns. I wish potentially that they might set a set number of turns for combat for the first 2 rounds, because it doesn't really matter if you knock them all out until the last round. But that's just a minor thing, and it might be changed. Who knows? Or, it might be a thing that after playing with more and more experienced players, it's not really a thing. But I enjoyed both aspects, and I like the fact that they're separate. I like the combat, and I like the deck building. The game overall is mechanically solid. I like the game a lot. I think this is a game that you definitely want to check out on Kickstarter. They also have this available on Tabletop Simulator, so you can actually give it a play before you back it. But that's my thoughts on Arcane Arena. Thank you for watching.